Private Marcus Hale sat alone on a fallen tree trunk, breathing slowly under the golden sky of Tessera 4. The jungle around him was alive with strange sounds, soft chirps, glowing insects, and rustling leaves that seemed to whisper secrets. It had been a long day. His squad had just finished clearing out debris from the last skirmish between Earth's forces and the alien species called the Veyari. Tessera 4 wasn't supposed to be a battleground. It was a beautiful planet, full of glowing plants, floating rocks, and clear rivers. But war never cared about beauty. Now, the forest hid broken machines, empty camps, and wounded soldiers on both sides. Marcus wasn't a fighter. He was a supply technician. His job was to bring food, water, and parts to the soldiers who needed them. But today, he was tired. The sun above had two smaller moons around it, and both were now rising together, soft white and pale blue. Marcus reached into his pack and pulled out a small silver wrapper. Chocolate. His last piece. He had been saving it for a special moment, maybe for when they finally returned home. It was smooth, rich, and sweet, a taste of earth that brought memories of calm places and warm laughter. But now, sitting in this alien forest, he was too tired to wait. He unwrapped it slowly. Just as he raised the chocolate to his mouth, he heard something. A small sound. Not the usual jungle noise. This was soft. A whimper. A child's whimper. Marcus froze. He turned his head toward the sound. There, behind a thick group of glowing ferns, something moved. He stood slowly, careful not to make any sudden noise, and walked toward it. Pushing aside the leaves, he stopped. There she was. A small alien girl. Her skin was light blue with shimmering spots, and her eyes were large and full of fear. She looked thin, too thin. Her hands were wrapped around her knees, and she was shaking. Marcus didn't move. He knew the Veyari were the enemy, or at least, that's what everyone said. But this child didn't look dangerous. She looked scared and hungry. The girl stared at him. She didn't run. Maybe she was too weak. Maybe she didn't see a soldier. Maybe she just saw a person. He slowly crouched down and showed her his empty hands. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." Of course, she didn't understand English, but sometimes kindness speaks without words. She looked at his face, then at the shiny silver wrapper in his hand. Marcus looked at it too, his last chocolate. He hesitated for just a second. Then, gently, he broke it in half and offered one piece to her. The girl didn't move. "It's sweet," Marcus said with a smile. "Good. You'll like it." She tilted her head, unsure. He took a small bite from his half, chewed slowly, and smiled. Then he held out the other piece again. This time, she reached forward. Slowly, like a bird scared to take food from a stranger's hand. She took it. Her fingers were small and soft. She sniffed it, then placed it in her mouth. Her eyes widened. Then she smiled. It was a small smile, but it lit up her face like a sunbeam through storm clouds. Marcus laughed gently. "See, told you. Earth chocolate. Best in the galaxy." She didn't understand the words, but she seemed to understand the feeling. He sat down across from her. She ate every last crumb carefully, like it was the most precious thing in the world. They sat in silence for a few minutes. No more words were needed, just peace. Marcus reached into his pack again and found a small water bottle. He handed it to her. She took it gratefully and drank. Then she handed it back with a polite nod. She pointed to herself and said something in her own language. One word. It sounded like sorry. He pointed to himself. "Marcus." Sorry smiled again. A real smile this time. She repeated, "Marcus." It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. The stars above slowly began to shine. The jungle started to glow with more color, like the trees were waking up for the night. Marcus knew he couldn't stay much longer. His team would start looking for him soon. He stood up slowly. Sari stood too. He pointed to the trees behind him. I have to go. She looked sad, but nodded. He gave her a small flashlight from his pack, a simple tool but useful. She held it like a treasure. Then, before he left, Marcus did something he didn't plan. He reached into his chest pocket and pulled out the silver wrapper from the chocolate. He handed it to her. A memory, he said. She held it close and gave a little bow, clumsy but full of feeling. Then he turned and walked back through the trees. Behind him, Sari disappeared into the glowing jungle. What Marcus didn't know was that a small drone, hidden in the trees, had been watching the entire time. It had recorded the moment he gave his last chocolate to the alien child. And it had already sent the footage to someone watching far away. The sun rose slowly over Sci-Fi, painting the sky with soft shades of pink and orange. The jungle began to hum with life again. Birds called, insects buzzed, and leaves rustled gently in the morning breeze. But deep inside the jungle, a small blue-skinned girl named Sari woke with a happy feeling in her heart. Last night was different. Someone had shown her kindness. A human soldier, called Marcus, had given her something special, his last piece of chocolate. Sari held the silver wrapper close, the memory of the sweet taste still fresh on her tongue. She wanted to see Marcus again, to thank him with all her heart. Meanwhile, Marcus sat in his small tent near the edge of the jungle camp. The early morning light filtered through the canvas, casting soft shadows. His body was sore from the day before, but his mind was busy with one thought: the alien girl. He took a small cup of hot water and thought about what to do next. Maybe I can bring her more food, he whispered to himself. Maybe she is not just an enemy. His squad mates were busy preparing for the day's mission, but Marcus didn't join them right away. Instead, he packed extra rations, dried fruits, water, and a few energy bars. He checked his gear twice, making sure everything was ready. As he walked back into the jungle, his heart felt heavy but hopeful. The jungle grew darker under the thick canopy of leaves. Strange plants glowed softly in the shadows, lighting his way. Marcus moved carefully, remembering where he had last seen Sari. Suddenly, a small rustle came from the bushes. Sari, he called softly. A pair of large, curious eyes peeked out. The girl stepped forward, clutching the silver chocolate wrapper like a precious treasure. She looked thinner today, her clothes torn and dirty, but her eyes were bright. Marcus smiled and knelt down. I brought more food, he said, holding out the rations. Sari's face lit up. She reached out and took a small packet of dried fruits. Marcus watched as she opened it carefully, breaking the pieces into tiny bites. She ate slowly, savoring each piece. Marcus felt something warm inside, a strange feeling he had not expected during this mission. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was something more. While Marcus and Sari shared this quiet moment, far away in the dense jungle, a hidden drone hovered silently. Its cameras were small but sharp, capturing every detail. The video feed had already been sent to the Vayari Command Center, a massive floating city high above the planet. Inside, General Latari, a tall woman with shining silver eyes and armor that glowed faintly, watched the screen. Her gaze was sharp and careful as she saw the footage again, the human soldier offering his last chocolate to her daughter, Sari. Latari's face softened, but there was a flicker of worry. This is unusual, she said quietly to her officers, a human showing such kindness to my child. One officer, a stern man with dark markings on his face, frowned. Commander, this could be a trick. Humans are not known for mercy. They use weakness to their advantage. Latari shook her head slowly. No, this is different. I see honesty here. We must be careful, but perhaps this is the start of something new. She sent a command to dispatch a small group of soldiers to find Marcus and learn more. Back in the jungle, Marcus and Sari sat side by side. The girl pointed to the food, then to Marcus, trying to say something in her language. "Your name is Sari," Marcus repeated with a smile. She nodded, then pointed at herself. "And you're hungry," he added softly. Sari nodded again. Marcus reached into his pack and pulled out a small folded map. He pointed to the camp, then to the nearby river where the Vayari village was. He wanted to help her, but he knew the situation was dangerous. "We have to be careful," he said quietly. Suddenly, a sound echoed from the trees, voices and footsteps. Marcus stood quickly, holding his hand up to Sari to stay silent. From behind the trees, a squad of Vayari soldiers appeared, their armor shining in the morning light. At their center was General Lateri herself, moving with calm but strong steps. Sari ran to her mother, wrapping her small arms around her leg. Marcus raised his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. General Lateri looked at Marcus with sharp eyes. Then she turned to her daughter and smiled softly. "You are safe, Sari," she said in her language. Then she looked back at Marcus. "You have shown great courage and kindness," she said in a clear voice that Marcus could understand only because she spoke slowly and with care. Marcus was surprised. He did not expect mercy from the enemy commander. Lateri gestured for her soldiers to lower their weapons. "This human has helped my daughter when no one else did," she said. Marcus lowered his hands and nodded. "I just wanted to help," he said simply. Lateri's eyes softened. "This is a moment we will remember," she said. "You will come with us. There is much to discuss." Marcus hesitated, but then he saw Sari looking at him with hope and trust. He nodded again. The Vayari soldiers led Marcus through the jungle to a hidden place, a mobile city made of shining metal and glass, floating just above the ground. It was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. Strange machines hummed softly, and people moved with a calm but serious energy. Inside, Marcus was brought before General Lateri's council. They were tall, wise-looking leaders with eyes full of experience. Lateri spoke to the council about Marcus's kindness. The council listened carefully. One elder said, "This human shows a side of your people we did not expect." Another added, "Perhaps we can learn from this." Marcus was nervous but spoke honestly. "I don't want war," he said. "I want to help. If we can stop fighting, maybe both our worlds can be better." The council members exchanged looks. Lateri smiled for the first time in days. "You are brave, Marcus Hale. We will remember your kindness." Later, Marcus returned to his camp with a message from Lateri, a proposal for peace and aid between their two peoples. He knew this was only the beginning. The last piece of chocolate he gave to Sari had opened a door, one that might lead to peace, hope, and a future where humans and Vayari could live together. And Marcus felt, for the first time in a long time, that his small act of kindness was bigger than he ever imagined. The jungle of Tesseraphore was alive with noise. The chirping of strange birds, the buzz of insects, and the rustling of leaves in the warm wind. But something else filled the air that day, a tension, like the quiet before a storm. Private Marcus Hale had just returned to his camp after his visit to the Vayari floating city. His mind was full of hope and worry at the same time. The meeting with General Lateri had gone better than he ever dreamed. The Vayari leader had offered a chance for peace, a chance to stop the fighting, and a chance to help her people survive the harsh times. But not everyone shared that hope. In the sky above the jungle, a fleet of large ships appeared suddenly, shining black and silver against the blue sky. The Vayari soldiers were coming down fast, landing in tight formation near the human camp. Alarm sirens sounded. Soldiers grabbed their weapons and took cover. The humans prepared for the worst. Marcus stood still, watching the ships land. His heart pounded. He did not know if the soldiers were coming to fight, or if this was part of the peace talk. From one of the ships came General Lateri herself. She stepped down with calm authority. Her armor gleamed in the sunlight, and her eyes shone with determination. Behind her walked a group of soldiers, all looking serious but careful not to raise their weapons. Marcus took a deep breath and stepped forward. The soldiers around him watched closely. Letteri's voice was strong and clear. "I have come with my daughter, Sari, and my soldiers to meet with your commanders," she said. "We seek to build peace." Marcus felt relief, but also knew this was a delicate moment. "Welcome, General," Marcus said respectfully. "We want peace too." Letteri nodded and motioned for her daughter to come forward. Sari stepped out shyly. Her eyes met Marcus's, and for a moment, all the fear and anger of the war seemed to fade. She held out the silver chocolate wrapper Marcus had given her, the symbol of their unlikely friendship. Suddenly, from behind the crowd, a loud shout rang out. "Stop this nonsense!" A soldier barked. It was Commander Tarek, a human officer known for his strict views. "This is an enemy trick. They want to weaken us." Several other soldiers murmured in agreement. The tension grew. Letteri raised her hand to silence the crowd. "We are not enemies today," she said. "My daughter is safe because of this human's kindness. We must try to understand each other." Marcus stepped forward. "Commander Tarek," he said calmly, "sometimes peace begins with small acts. That chocolate was my last. It was not a trick. It was a gift." Tarek's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing. The human commanders and Vayari leaders moved into the large tents set up as a meeting place. The air was thick with unease. Marcus sat beside Sari, who clung quietly to her mother's hand. Letteri opened the discussion. "Our people suffer," she said. "We have few supplies, many children are hungry, and the fighting has brought only pain. We offer a truce. We will help each other." A human commander spoke next. "If this is true, we will need proof. Food shipments, medical aid, and a way to return lost soldiers." Letteri nodded. "We agree, but first, trust must grow." Outside the tent, Marcus walked with Sari to a quiet place near the river. "Do you miss your home?" he asked. She looked at the glowing water and nodded. "My home is far away," she said softly. "I want peace. I want to be safe." Marcus smiled gently. "Then we will work for that. Together." Sari smiled back, a bright hope in her eyes. Back inside the camp, news of the peace talks spread quickly. Some soldiers whispered that the humans were being too soft. Others felt hope for the first time in months. But danger waited in the shadows. That night, Marcus heard footsteps outside his tent. He opened the flap slowly. A young Vayari soldier stood there, nervous but determined. "Marcus," he said quietly, "not all of us want peace. Some plan to stop the talks." Marcus's eyes grew wide. "We need to warn General Letteri," he said. The soldier nodded. Together, they hurried through the jungle to the floating city. The lights of the city shimmered like stars in the dark. Inside, Marcus told Letteri about the warning. She listened carefully. "This is why trust is hard," she said, "but we cannot give up." Letteri called her officers. "We will protect the peace. Those who threaten it will face justice." Marcus felt a new respect for her courage. The next morning, both sides prepared for a joint patrol to find the rogue soldiers planning to break the truce. Marcus, Sari, and a group of soldiers from both sides walked together through the jungle. The tension was high, but so was the hope. Marcus looked at Sari and whispered, "We will protect you." She nodded, trusting him. Deep in the jungle, the patrol found a hidden camp. Rogue Vayari soldiers were gathered, ready to attack. Marcus and the others moved carefully. Letteri spoke to the rebels. "Peace is stronger than war. Lay down your weapons." The rebels hesitated but finally surrendered. Back at the camp, Marcus and Sari stood together, watching the sun set. The peace was fragile but real. Marcus held out his hand. "Thank you for trusting me," he said. Sari smiled, taking his hand gently. In that moment, a small act of kindness, the last chocolate, had grown into something much bigger, a new hope for two worlds. The jungle was quieter now. The war between the humans and the Veyari had slowed, but the scars of battle were still fresh on the planet Tessera 4. Private Marcus Hale sat by the riverbank, watching the water flow gently past the glowing stones. He held a small packet of food in his hands, thinking about the strange and beautiful journey that had started with a single piece of chocolate. Sari was nearby, playing with a small group of Veyari children. The joy on their faces made Marcus feel hopeful. Somehow, even in this dark place, life was finding a way to shine. Inside the Veyari floating city, the mood was different. General Lateri stood in her council chamber, surrounded by leaders and officers. The video of Marcus giving his last chocolate to Sari had spread like wildfire. To many Veyari, it was more than just a kind act. It was a symbol. Lateri's voice was steady and strong. "We have seen what kindness can do," she said. "Even the smallest gesture can open hearts." Marcus Hale's act has reminded us of something important. Peace is possible. One council member, an elder with deep wrinkles and silver hair, nodded slowly. "War has brought us pain, but this could bring us hope," he said softly. Lateri smiled. "We will reach out to Earth's leaders. We want to share aid, help our people recover, and build a future without bloodshed." Back at the human camp, the news of the Veyari's willingness to talk shocked many. Some soldiers were still suspicious, but others were ready to believe that peace could happen. Marcus was called to speak before the commanding officers. "Your kindness has changed their minds," the commander said. "Your actions have opened a door." Marcus felt both proud and nervous. "I only did what any person should do," he said simply. "We must keep trying." Meanwhile, Marcus spent more time with Sari. She was curious about humans and their ways, and he wanted to learn about the Veyari too. One afternoon, they walked together along the river. Sari pointed to the sky where two moons were rising. "In my world," she said, "the moons mean new beginnings." Marcus smiled. "Then this is our new beginning too." They sat quietly, listening to the sounds of the jungle. But not everyone on either side wanted peace. A small group of human soldiers were unhappy with the idea of helping the enemy. They whispered that the Veyari could never be trusted. At the same time, some Veyari warriors felt betrayed by their leaders. They believed fighting was the only way to survive. Marcus heard about these tensions and knew that the road ahead would not be easy. One evening, as Marcus rested in his tent, Sari came to visit. She held a small, glowing flower. "This is for you," she said shyly. Marcus took it gently, feeling its soft light. "Thank you, Sari," he said. "It means a lot." They talked for a while about their hopes and fears. Sari told him about her dreams of peace and friendship between their peoples. Marcus listened carefully. Days passed, and the peace talks between Earth and the Veyari moved forward. Plans were made to send food and medicine to the Veyari people. Medical teams from both sides worked together to help the wounded. Marcus joined some of the missions, helping to deliver supplies and care. He saw children smiling again, mothers resting, and villages slowly healing. One day, while walking near the jungle's edge, Marcus found an old Veyari elder sitting alone. The elder looked at Marcus with tired eyes but smiled warmly. "You are the human who gave the chocolate," he said slowly. Marcus nodded. "You have done more than you know," the elder said. "Your kindness echoes through our people. It reminds us that even in darkness, light remains." Marcus felt a deep respect for the elder's words. That night, Marcus wrote a message to his family back on Earth. He told them about the jungle, about Sari, and about the fragile hope growing between two very different worlds. He promised to keep working for peace, no matter how hard it might be. The next morning, Marcus woke to find Sari waiting outside his tent. She held a small painting, a picture of two hands, one human and one Veyari, holding the silver chocolate wrapper. "It is our story," she said softly. Marcus smiled and hugged her gently. "We will tell this story to many," he said. "And maybe, one day, everyone will remember." The jungle was still full of unknown dangers, and the future was not certain. But for now, Marcus and Sari stood together, a symbol of hope and friendship. One small act of kindness, the last chocolate, had created a bridge between two worlds. And across that bridge, the future was waiting. The jungle of Tesseraphore was alive with hope and cautious excitement. The days of fighting seemed far behind, replaced by the slow but steady steps toward peace. Private Marcus Hale found himself at the center of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. Chance to change the future. It began with a meeting. Leaders from Earth's fleet and the Vayari sovereignty gathered in a large tent hitched between their two camps. The air was thick with curiosity and attention. Soldiers from both sides watched carefully, some hopeful, some doubtful. General Lateri sat at the head of the table, her silver eyes calm and steady. Marcus stood beside her, feeling nervous but proud. "This meeting is the start of the Chocolate Accord," Lateri announced, "a promise between our peoples to end conflict and build a new future." The room was silent for a moment. Then, Commander Tarek, the human officer who had once doubted Marcus's kindness, spoke up. "How can we trust them?" he asked, his voice sharp. "They have fought us for years." Lateri looked at him without anger. "Trust is built step by step, Commander," she said, "and it begins with understanding." Marcus stepped forward. "I was just a soldier," he said softly, "but I saw a child hungry and scared. I gave her my last chocolate because I believed in kindness. That moment started this. It can start much more." The leaders talked long into the night, discussing supplies, medical aid, and ways to help the Vayari rebuild their villages. Plans were made to send food shipments from Earth, to open medical centers on Tesseraphore, and to create safe zones where families could live without fear. This agreement, the Chocolate Accord, was more than words. It was a promise. After the meeting, Marcus walked outside to the glowing jungle. He found Sari waiting for him. "Today is important," she said, her eyes bright. Marcus smiled. "Yes, it is. We made a promise. To help each other." Sari nodded. She reached into her small bag and pulled out the silver chocolate wrapper. She held it carefully, as if it was a treasure. "This is our symbol," she said. Marcus took it gently. "Yes," he agreed. "The sweet that saved two worlds." The next weeks were full of work. Humans and Vayari soldiers worked side by side, building shelters, clearing fields, and planting gardens. Medical teams treated the sick and wounded. Food was shared. Marcus helped deliver supplies to the villages. He saw hope grow in the eyes of people who had known only fear. One afternoon, Marcus visited a small village on the edge of the jungle. Children ran to greet him, their smiles wide and genuine. Sari was there too, playing with the children. She ran to Marcus and hugged him tightly. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Marcus felt tears in his eyes. "You are welcome, Sari," he said. "This is just the beginning." But peace was not without challenges. A group of radical Vayari warriors opposed the accord. They believed fighting was the only way to survive. Marcus heard rumors of secret meetings and angry whispers. One evening, as Marcus and Sari walked near the river, they saw a group of Vayari soldiers in dark armor. They watched them silently from the shadows. Marcus felt a chill. "We must be careful," he said. Sari nodded. The next day, General Lateri called Marcus to the floating city. "There are those who want to destroy the peace," she said, "but we will not let fear win." Lateri asked Marcus to help find the radicals and bring them to justice, without violence if possible. Marcus agreed. Together with a small team of Vayari and human soldiers, Marcus set out on a mission deep into the jungle. They moved quietly, following clues and listening carefully. One night, they found the radicals' hidden camp. Marcus and his team waited until morning, then surrounded the camp. Lateri's voice was calm as she spoke to the group. "Lay down your weapons," she said. "We want peace. Fighting will only bring more pain." The radicals hesitated but slowly lowered their weapons. Marcus stepped forward. "We want to help you," he said. "There is a better way." The radicals were taken to the floating city, where they met with leaders and counselors. Many were angry, but some began to listen. The road to peace was difficult, but the chocolate accord gave them hope. Back at the camp, Marcus and Sari sat by the river. She held the silver chocolate wrapper. "Do you think the peace will last?" she asked. Marcus looked at the stars above. "It must," he said, "for all of us." Sari smiled. "Then we will keep trying." As the moons rose, their light shimmered on the river's surface. Two worlds, once enemies, now stood together, bound by kindness, hope, and a promise. The sweet that saved two worlds was more than chocolate. It was a symbol of what humanity could be. The jungle of Scifi was alive with the sounds of life. Birds sang, leaves rustled, and the soft glow of alien plants lit the night. But beneath this peaceful scene, dark shadows moved, shadows that threatened the fragile peace between humans and the Vayari. Private Marcus Hale sat around the campfire with a small group of soldiers. They were from both Earth and Vayari, working together to build a new future. The mood was hopeful, but Marcus knew that not all shared this hope. "Peace is fragile," said Lieutenant Kara, a human officer. "There are those who want to break it." Marcus nodded. "I've heard about groups who don't want to stop fighting," he said. "Radicals who think war is the only answer." Sari, sitting nearby, listened quietly. She held the silver chocolate wrapper, the symbol of their friendship and peace. The next day, Marcus received a message from General Latari. "There is trouble," the message said. "Sari has been taken by a rogue group. They oppose the chocolate accord and want to restart the war." Marcus's heart stopped. He knew he had to act fast. Marcus joined a small rescue team made up of human and Vayari soldiers. Their mission was clear: find Sari and bring her home safely. The jungle was thick and dark. The team moved carefully, using all their training and knowledge. Marcus thought about Sari's smile, her trust, and the hope she carried. He would not let her down. Hours later, the team found a hidden camp deep in the jungle. Guards patrolled the area, and the air was tense. Marcus and the team planned their move. "We don't want violence," Marcus said. "We must try to rescue Sari without fighting." The team nodded. Under the cover of night, they moved closer. Marcus saw Sari inside a small tent. She looked scared but unharmed. "Sari," Marcus whispered, "we're here to help." She looked up, her eyes shining with relief. Suddenly, guards appeared. The team was spotted. A tense standoff followed. But Marcus remembered the lessons of peace. He stepped forward, hands open. "We do not want to fight," he said calmly. "Let us take Sari home." The leader of the rogue group hesitated, then lowered his weapon. The team quickly moved Sari to safety. As they returned, Marcus spoke with the rogue leader. "Why do you oppose peace?" he asked. The leader looked away. "War is all we have known," he said. "But maybe there is another way." Back at the camp, Sari was safe with her mother, General Latari. Latari thanked Marcus. "You have done more than save my daughter," she said. "You have shown that courage and kindness can change even the hardest hearts." Marcus smiled, feeling proud but humble. Days later, the rogue group agreed to join the peace talks. They promised to support the chocolate accord. Marcus knew the road ahead was still difficult, but this was a victory. That night, Marcus and Sari sat by the river. The stars shone above. "We faced shadows," Marcus said softly, "but together we found light." Sari smiled. "The chocolate was the start," she said, "but kindness is the future." The jungle was quiet again, but Marcus knew the peace would need care, patience, and courage. One small act of kindness had grown into a movement. A human had given his last chocolate to a hungry alien girl and changed two worlds forever. The sun rose over Scifi, casting soft light over the jungle and the floating city. Peace had come, but it was still new and fragile. Private Marcus Hale stood on a small hill overlooking the land he had helped to save. Beside him stood Sari, the young alien girl whose smile had changed everything. Months had passed since Marcus gave his last piece of chocolate to Sari. That small act of kindness had grown into a great movement. Humans and Vayari now worked together. The chocolate accord was more than just a promise. It was a new way of life. Marcus remembered the day he first met Sari, sitting alone and hungry in the glowing jungle. He had no idea then that his small gift would start something so powerful. He looked at Sari now. She was stronger, happier, surrounded by friends from both species. "You changed everything," she said softly. Marcus shook his head. "No, you did," he replied. "You taught me what hope means." News of the chocolate accord had spread across both worlds. Leaders on Earth and in the Vayari sovereignty honored Marcus for his courage and kindness. He was given the first ever dual species Medal of Honor, a symbol of unity between the two peoples. At the ceremony, Marcus stood proudly as both humans and Vayari applauded. General Leteri stood beside him, her daughter Sari holding his hand. "This medal is not just for me," Marcus said. "It belongs to every person who believes kindness can change the world." After the ceremony, Marcus returned to Tessera 4 with a new mission, to serve as a peace envoy. His task was to visit villages, towns, and cities on both sides, sharing stories and helping build trust. He traveled with Sari and a team of humans and Vayari working together. Everywhere they went, children listened to the story of the last chocolate. They learned that even the smallest act of kindness could make a huge difference. One day, Marcus visited a museum built on neutral ground. Behind glass, carefully preserved, was a single silver wrapper, the last chocolate's wrapper. A plaque beneath it read, "The sweet that saved two worlds." Marcus smiled as he looked at it. That small wrapper was a symbol, not just of chocolate, but of hope, friendship, and peace. As he walked outside the museum, Marcus saw children playing together, human and Vayari, side by side. He heard their laughter and saw their smiles. The future was bright. That night, under the light of 2 moons, Marcus and Sari sat by the river again. The jungle glowed softly around them. Sari turned to Marcus. "Do you think peace will last?" she asked. Marcus looked at the stars and then at Sari. "Peace needs care," he said, "but if we keep kindness alive, it will last forever." Sari smiled. "Then we have a long journey ahead." Marcus nodded. "Yes," he said, "but it is a journey worth taking." And so, the story of a human who gave his last chocolate to a hungry alien girl became a legend. A story told across galaxies about how one small act of kindness can change 2 worlds. The end.